Melissa, I made you co-host and I enabled the waiting room. Could you watch that? I have to just finish something up. I'll be back in a couple minutes. Thank you.
Sounds good. You're welcome.
Thank you, April. Bye.
It feels like old times.
I know, right? Oh, I'm eating a buffalo chicken wrap.
Oh, that sounds
My nose is
delicious.
running. Yeah, it's a good way to cure just about anything ails you.
The only difference between this meeting and the ones we used to share is I do not have the same level of anxiety.
Oh, I'm sorry you had anxiety. That's funny. I never really had anxiety with any of those meetings. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
I think it's a really good thing. I think it's a really good thing.
Yeah, no, I never did. Not really.
I think that's one of your strengths. Anyway, how are you? I saw you bought another house. It was in the paper
I had
today.
2 more. Well, one of them was, which one was there? The 35 lady slipper or 30 lady slipper?
I don't remember.
Well, my mom's of course transferred to my sister and I, which may or may not be in the paper. I don't know if they put those in. But then I bought my grandmother's house from my uncle.
What are you going to do with it?
Well, we have a couple of options. Chris and I might actually, once we fix up a little bit, could move into that and rent ours. It's on 11, almost 12 acres,
Sweet.
and my mom's is on 25 acres.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. And then, but there's a caveat. Now I'm an abutter on 2 of the Coles sites because they abut the Carver Road ones because of the frontage of those properties are not on Lady Slipper. They're on Carver Road. Lady Slipper was not named until 911 came. So it's a private road. Mm-hmm.
So that's quite a ways from Carver.
Yeah.
Wow.
So between Carver and where my grandmother's house is about 12 acres of land between. That's the swath there.
Oh.
Mom's is a flag lot. So it's a little piece and then it goes into a flagish shape.
So between the 2 of them, you could put on your own solar. You could do your own solar.
I could knock down all those trees, and stand there and let people watch me do it with a chainsaw myself.
I know. I have a chainsaw, but I've never used it, but it's all ready to go. So I'll help.
You should.
I should.
It's a good skill to know. And it's good, to be honest, when you're doing something that's kind of out of the normal gender role, it can be empowering.
Oh God, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, when I first met you doing the council on aging,
yeah,
it's like
taking that sawzall and just go woof. Yep.
Yes. Damn.
Yeah, it wasn't my first time.
I'm sure. I mean, you guys have the ability to do a lot of renovation.
Yes. The only thing I don't touch is electrical and difficult plumbing. Simple plumbing I can do, but like a faucet repair or putting in a flex line, I can do that, but not the more deep stuff like, plumbing an entire rough in or anything. And I won't touch electricity just because that can be dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. So those are the only 2 things that I have limitations with. I'll try anything else. And then if I ruin it, I'll just call someone in. I've done the demo, so that just an easier process for them.
Absolutely. So you guys could have a lot of fun with this. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. I mean, you had too many losses last year, but I'm glad something good is coming from it, I guess.
Yeah, my sister and I had discussed, I mean, she couldn't afford to help buy Graham's property because, she's at the time single mom and, was collecting unemployment, which wasn't a lot because she didn't really put in a lot. And then, my mom was her source of income because she cared for my mom and my mom paid her bills, right? So it was kind of a dance and things worked out well. And then when mom passed, income stopped. So we had to figure out how to get that going. And she's got a nice little business for herself, cleaning houses, and it's working out really well. And she kind of stumbled into it and,
Wow, there's more and more, maybe it's because I'm getting older. I'm finding there's more and more people who are using a house cleaner.
There's a lot of them and they're willing to pay. A good person, they're really willing to pay. My sister, I think, is underpriced priced herself a little bit. But she's like, but they tip her. So I think she's earning, but she's doing good. She's able to pay the tax bill on that one property and her bills. Not a lot of extra left over, but she's home when the kids are home. And
Sounds like you're being a really good big sister.
yeah, it was a little tough first couple months where I was expending the money to make sure the bills are paid, and but
Absolutely.
But my mom would have expected that, no matter what. My sister and my relationship have bounced around over the years, and it's been good. It's not been good, choices.
Yes.
And stuff.
I'll just,
Thank you, Becky.
Yeah.
I guess we should call ourselves to order if we're technically recording.
yeah.
All right.
And try to see if I can. Melody.
So I had sent everybody the minutes from our July 15th meeting. We'll be able to review those today, or should I send them again?
I think we should, that would be good to approve them and get them posted.
Yeah.
Can you send them again, George? Because I'm not sure I can find them. I'm not doing
Sure.
too well with searching today.
No problem. I'm just going to reply all to the email that Becky just sent us.
Uh-oh, better check and make sure Melody's on that. I know
Okay, I will. I
it
will.
was the old one. Hi, Melody. How? Yeah. That's no problem, we're here.
Yep, everybody's on it.
Hi. Melody is jumping on.
I didn't get it. I don't think I'm on it. Am I?
It's probably the wrong email. It's
Yeah,
probably-
it is the wrong email. It's at shutesbury.org here. I'll reply all, April, I've got your email.
Yeah, aprilstein52@gmail.
Okay, you got it.
All right, I'm gonna open my. I think it went to my other email.
Younger?
What did you say?
Huh?
Are you trying to pretend you're 52?
No, that's the year I was born.
Oh, wow, you're gonna be 70
knew
next
that.
year? Oops, I didn't say that.
You're recorded, George. We know you.
Sorry.
Man.
Wow, April, that's awesome. Yeah, you're doing all right.
I'm doing
Wow.
all right.
Wow.
Like 70 is the new 40.
No,
hope so.
70 is the
No?
new 70.
Okay.
The aches.
Well, I'm getting those at 63, so
Oh, you're a child.
yeah, I guess. I act like one, they tell me.
Oh, George.
Is Melody joining?
Yes.
Oh, good. Good, 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 good.
Let's see. Is this computer gonna work?
George is retired. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah, since February.
Are you
I'm loving
bored?
it.
Oh.
I'm
What
loving
kind
it.
of?
Hey, I rode 36 miles today, I just riding my bike, paddling a lot. Marty's working part-time, so, she likes to paddle, so we paddle a lot. And we're going to the beach a lot. Yeah, no, we've been doing, you know what it's like. You're retired now too. That's right. You're not bored, are you?
No.
Yeah.
No. I didn't have time for a nap today.
Oh, darn.
Tell you, I love not being under stress. I really like not having the stress of work. I didn't realize how bad it really was. And sitting all day, I just love not sitting. I don't sit at my computer for more than a half an hour at a time now. It used to be 8, 9, 10 hours at a time. And my body doesn't like it. It's
Mm-mm.
good.
Well, so our bodies really aren't meant to sit that long. We're meant to be moving.
Yes. And by the way, I apologize to those of you who are still working. We shouldn't be talking like this, April.
Well, we'll get there eventually. I mean, I got a good 24 years left.
Oh my God.
Trust me, it
I'm
goes
only
by
40,
fast.
I'm only 45.
Yeah, you're not even close, no.
Don't worry, April will be 94 and you guys can hang out and have a great time.
You know, I have to say some of my, I'll go over and have coffee with Marilyn Tibbetts occasionally because she doesn't have many friends left and my mom and Graham were friends with her. So I'll go over and have coffee with her, just keep her company. And so that's some of the most fun things to listen to her talk about the way Shutesbury was, you know.
I
Mhm.
loved her story about when they'd closed down Cooleyville Prescott Road and sled up and down it.
Yep.
Every
My
winter.
mom used to do that when she was a kid. She used to be on the, you
Oh,
know,
that was a thing. That was
It was a
little town
thing.
Get together.
yeah, going off your roof too with a sled was also a thing.
I
Apparently.
Wow.
never get to do that again.
Yeah, but yeah, that road and then Old Wendell Road, the dirt road also.
Oh, wow. We could start that. I think I'll go to the next select board meeting and say, I have a request.
On a snowy afternoon, close down the
community-
road. Why
A
not?
community building event.
Yeah.
We'll have
Why
Walter at the bottom.
The
Sliding down
firemen still
the,
have those things that people could jump out of buildings into the, and the firemen would hold the,
All those
yeah.
big thingies, yeah.
Put that at the end of the road and people could just slide into that.
boing. I could do that.
Why not have some, why not have some fun? You know, Amherst College used to try to outlaw the dining trays down the big hill, Memorial Hill. They never could, so they just had the police officers come out and make sure no one hurt themselves. You know,
Yeah.
why not?
Go
You're
with
gonna,
it.
you know, a lot of students never seen snow before. And those dining trays were really nice.
But
They've gotten rid of dining trays now, but they were really dirty and
Worked really well, huh?
yeah, there's also a walkway in the middle of the hill, so you got some air.
So I guess we should probably get to
Oh,
work.
thank
huh?
you, Becky, for putting it up on the screen. I appreciate that.
I thought we might as well jump in and read this and then talk about
Well, can we do the meetings first? Minutes first from the previous meeting?
yes,
Becky, can you pop those up real quick so we can see them?
sorry, I should
And I
have.
emailed it. It should be in your inbox.
Okay.
I know my computer's
oh
having.
yeah, here it is. Oh,
Yeah,
I'm sure they're great, George, because you did them.
Yeah, you better read them anyways.
I'll move that we accept the minutes from the last meeting.
That was in June or July, right?
July 15.
July 15th. Thank you. Okay. Oh, here comes Melody. I'm gonna let her in.
Great.
Melody, are you in? You can unmute. Oh, here she comes.
Georgian, you sent those in July?
I just sent them now. I sent them 5 minutes ago.
Oh, they don't have to go to July.
No, you don't. It was the BOH clerk email that you sent. I just replied all and attached them to that.
Okay, so the BOH.
I think I did. April, did you get it?
No, no, it's not attached.
Attachment.
Okay, maybe I messed up. All right, let me try again.
Okay.
I thought I did. So every now and then that happens. All right, and let me make sure I got the right email for April.
Oh. I'm logging into the wrong email address, so that's why I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, it's going to, well, I can't see where it's going.
Makes you so Neil.
Yeah, Verizon.net.
Thank you.
And I'm
Okay, I
in
just
July.
sent
I'm
it.
trying my other one. And I'm like, why is this not working with this password?
So this one has the attachment and the right email for April. So I think everybody's going to get this one.
Okay, good.
It looks like we all got it and there's an attachment.
Oh, how fun.
Oh, I don't need any of that. Remind me later.
All right, so I need to put download it. I can just leave it here, right?
I wasn't there. Where was I?
Yeah, yeah, you weren't there. It's reflected in the minutes.
Okay, there, can everyone see it?
Yeah, and I have mine now too. There you are, right there. Okay. Oh, those are great, George.
Okay,
All right,
Arvanitis, aye.
Makepeace O'Neill, aye.
Chartier, aye.
I guess I have to abstain.
Correct.
Was there a second?
Mm-mm.
All right, shall we do it over again? April, make your
Yeah, I
motion.
think so.
I move that we accept the minutes from July 15th, 21.
Second.
I'll second that.
Okay.
All in favor, we'll just go through a roll call vote again, like
Arvanitis, aye.
Chartier, aye.
Makepeace O'Neill, aye.
Sign abstain.
Okay.
Sign
Okay.
abstain. Sign-
I'll send these to the town clerk tonight.
Thank you, George.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I'd like to say I could see the agenda so we could see what else we were supposed to be talking about, but,
No, I printed it out.
It
oh,
was
good.
classification and job descriptions, the classification process.
Hmm.
And then I met with Peg last Monday and we talked about what I needed to prepare so we could disseminate it to everybody and explain it. And it's going to take a bit more work than I had thought, so I don't have it ready for everyone tonight. So I've enlisted April to help me get it done since she has so much free time being retired now. And so I will have that for next meeting.
Okay.
Okay, so nothing to mention in the minutes then. Okay,
And the other issue that we need to work on is the Board of Health clerk job description. And we've looked at it once, but then it came back with additional comments. Where is it? Everybody can see it?
Yep.
yes,
Okay. Now I think that hours, it should say up to 10 hours a month,
Okay.
because you would assume a week, but I don't believe that's what she was talking about. Would you like to read through each section and discuss each section as we go?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, position summary.
so what's in red, is that an addition that we decided on in the last meeting?
That's an addition that
Catherine.
I think that came from her.
Yeah, I think it came from Catherine.
When
So
is
she's
the-
asking us to add it.
Yeah. The clerk serves as an informed, easily accessed contact person for the general public. See, what's happening is, I think Catherine has been acting more as the chair lately, even though Noreen is officially the chair. So the hope is to bring in a clerk who they have grant funds to pay for, which they've always had. Catherine was always paid out of grant funds as well. So they have the money to pay for it. It's not coming out of the budget. But Catherine has been really overwhelmed the last couple of years. They've been meeting almost every week, months on end. So
Well, I meant especially with the last 18 months, you know?
So she thought that she would remain the minute taker to start with, and then see how, you know, as the person learns more about the group. And she also, they have very simple minutes. They don't go into a lot of detail, she said. So she didn't think it was a task that she needed someone else to pick up. They don't do as, yeah, because the Conservation Commission is adjudicatory. I guess their Board of Health is too, but they don't seem to go in as much detail.
No, but HIPAA, they have all those, the confidentiality stuff too with, you know, health related issues too, right?
Okay, so any of these changes seem out of line to anyone?
I don't think so.
Fine to me.
Maybe.
Melody, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. Maybe I saw it on here. Oh, yeah, schedules, meetings, hearings. Okay, so this person would schedule the meetings online and the Zoom stuff and do all that.
Yeah.
That's nice. That's one less thing for you, Becky.
I've never had to do it for the Board of Health.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Keep that tradition going.
I will.
Yes.
Yeah, you got to train the other boards is what you got to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the Zoom made it more complicated, and I think I need to do what, for the most part, it's not an issue. It's just with the subcommittees and the short notice, and when I find out, you know, if I don't check my email for 6 hours and they decide on a day that's 48 hours away, it's like, and I can't do it.
Right.
That has been an issue.
Becky, you know, this is just a thought for the future for you. We have, you know, like an assistant, we've had assistants along the way. Maybe you need someone to help you.
Well, I have Linda.
Oh, I know, but I'm just saying like maybe even someone that could, you know, as needed, come in and do a task or something. You know what I'm saying?
I think the issue is Linda's being more in the office more hours and she's building back up again.
Okay.
And I think that'll help. But I think I am gonna pass off some of, it seemed like it was only gonna take like a 5-minute thing. Like poor Melody's still, you know, trying to get her meeting for her subcommittee. Okay, but it was like, it took like 17 emails. It was crazy. And
Mhm.
that's when, you know, you think something's 5 minutes and all of a sudden a couple hours or a couple weeks later is,
Yeah.
anyway, got to make it more streamlined.
It's just the world we live in.
Okay, so you guys are all good with this?
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
So would you like to vote to recommend these changes to the Board of Select Board?
Well, I'll make a motion that we recommend the changes to the Board of Health clerk job description to the select board.
And I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Arvanitis, aye.
Or to your eye.
Make peace O'Neill, aye.
I.
So what was the motion again?
It was to accept or to accept the changes to the Board of Health clerk job description to pass to the select board.
Okay, the last part is what I need. Thank you. So this is our recommendation to the select board.
Yeah, recommendation. Yeah.
So is anybody shown interest in this at this point, or?
It hasn't been advertised yet.
Question.
Yeah.
For any of these kinds of clerk jobs, has there ever been any thought given to like having a UMass student come in and do an internship for town government?
We've had some interns over time.
Board
I mean,
of-
just
probably
by
a-
way of cost savings, I know it would be, and the unfortunate thing is that you'd have to be constantly training people, but
Right.
I think part of the problem is when you're, especially like the Concom clerk, you know, that can take, there's a lot of other study involved to become competent and just being the clerk for that. While they say they're just clerk jobs, they tend to require develop specialization. Like Catherine knows Board of Health regulations inside and out.
Right.
So, and we have had interns, Board of Health has had, you know, one almost every summer for the last number of years till COVID. And a lot of jobs, it's such hit and miss. sometimes you get the survey 3/4 of the way done and the person time is up and they disappear and the project never finishes.
Well, what about an intern to support you?
I've always dreaded all the training involved. To be frank, it's, yeah, that, I guess I could give it a shot, but it's tricky. I've had interns before. And when you're writing up how, the work they've done and going through the process, but it's definitely something to pursue. My time is such a problem as it is. If you're hiring somebody that might be more work than they are the benefit.
Yep.
Well, especially because with an intern, you're going to make an investment in time to train
Yeah.
them, but they're interim, they're temporary. You're just going to have to do it again every time there's
Right.
unless you have something that you can document very well and just hand it to them and just send them off.
They go through this process and do this, right?
Yeah, when you hire a new person, it's always a lot of work to get them up to speed. And if they're not going to stick around, it's just not worth the effort.
No.
It's
Like
not
I
a bad idea. I'm not saying it's a bad idea, but that is
Not at
definitely a
all.
big downside for somebody in Becky's position.
And I'm already sucked in, like we just hired the new land use clerk and, I get sucked into that, any new employee I'm handling all the hiring of that and then making sure everybody gets set up, especially and coordinated and connected to the right people,
Mhm.
setting up new computers and I get sucked into a lot every time there's a transition within the building. No, but it's a good idea. I'll try to give it some thought if we can utilize it effectively. And if you know
Yeah.
somebody really good.
Mm.
Okay, so we knocked that one down. Board of Health. April's going to work with me on the classification and we'll set up a schedule and chart so we can really make sure, well, I think we're going to want to go through the classification areas where they are now and compare them to the UMass the Amherst updated classification schedule and talk about if we need to update it before we start this whole process. And April is going to help make sure, hold my feet to the fire so we have this for next week. Other than that, the open issues are the work we were doing on the wages and how to compare all the salaries. I know the early discussion in July, there were concerns about just using the Franklin County salary chart. And some of the classification, like the treasurer and collector were combined in there for about 4 or 5 of the positions. And so we talked about not throwing those out of the averages that we were using. Do you guys remember that conversation? Okay.
Yeah, I certainly remember that. There was a lot of towns that have the collector and the treasurer combined. And a lot of towns were also outsourcing the accountant. Those were tricky areas.
And I think part of the problem of just ignoring those towns is the majority of comparable size towns to us are in that category. And I'm trying to figure out how we can find a way to still use that data. And I don't know if you guys have any idea of what would make them apples to apples, how we could look at them. Because I think it was Ashfield, which is almost identical in size and budget and everything else. So I hate losing the towns that are closest to us. So if anybody has ideas of how we can approach that.
Well, we probably should look at it again. Nobody's, you know what I mean? The
Yeah.
schedules that we were
Yeah.
looking at, so everybody can visualize it, and that would probably help.
At least it gives it, seems like over the years, it's given us a ballpark figure. That no town runs exactly the same. We're all kind of unique entities in some way. but there is, I mean, I feel like there's been enough information over the time to sort of figure out, well, get some sense of a range of reimbursement and all from other towns, and bring our salaries up to where they need to be. I think
And yeah, because in some areas we are doing okay. But it's, it's constantly changing for police and highway. I think it was highway we have concerns about, and over time it's been the financial people that we've had concerns about.
Yeah, out of about 19 positions, I had flagged 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,
9.
about 11 of them for discussion,
Yeah.
for this discussion.
Can you bring that chart up, George?
Yeah, it's been so long since I worked with this. I don't even, I think this is the one that is most recently dated. So yeah, if you can, let me know when I have permission. Do I have permission?
Oh, no.
That's probably wise.
Well, I think you do now, George.
Now I'm
All
scared.
right, let me see if I get the right schedule here. All right. I bet you everybody sees that.
Oh, yes.
So this was basically, I took the information out of the survey and for each of the towns over here on the right. And you can see for the accountant, a lot of the towns didn't report. And the reason for that was because a lot of them are outsourcing. They have somebody providing the service at a very high rate. Irving is a town that does their own. Heath and Rowe and us. Us is over here, this
Do
column.
we have any figures of how much it is costing towns to outsource?
Yeah, let me look it up. I think it was $71. Oh,
71?
And I guess part of me, when you remove it,
I wonder if there's a way to break down. So Becky, or this may be a thought for apples to apples. What happens if you break down, I wonder if we select a town like you'd said Ashfield, what happens if we ask them for information of how much of per hour is hourly and then like a fee? Would you be able to break it down that way?
like I guess part of my problem is the cost. If we get to a point we have to outsource, if we lost Gail, right? We don't want to lose you, Gail. But when if we had to outsource, that is the cost. So I don't really agree with throwing out the outsource cost.
Maybe
All right,
just mark them as contracted so that it explains it.
Because they're not paying any employee benefits, so that offsets some of it. But still, it's relevant.
Well, yeah, but we're trying to figure out what a person would be paid. The outsource isn't necessarily what the person is being paid. That's what we're paying to the agency or whoever. Well, I don't know, Becky, who's doing
FERCog.
FERCog. So FERCog isn't billing what they're paying the person. So we could say we can use the FERCog rate, but that's not necessarily what the employee is going to get paid.
Yeah, but the point isn't just what the employee's paid, it's what it costs the town.
Right.
Well, what's our exercise? Our exercise is to determine, are we paying our people the right rate?
Yeah, but this is what the town has to pay people or has to pay to have this.
No, I understand that. I just thought our analysis was market value for determining a person's salary.
But I think maybe we could, like, I think Melissa was already saying it.
Take a couple of towns and ask them how much does, or agency, how much does your employee get paid for this? Because I imagine the contracted amount would be the employee plus the benefit share, so that the company, like a compensation, and the employee gets the paycheck and the rest goes to the company.
So ask for the breakout from FERCog, the difference between what the person is getting paid and the overhead fee.
Right.
So, because like April said, these numbers don't reflect what our insurance costs are or anything else.
Right, the total compensation for each.
And I do think that they payment to an agency is relevant, because if we had to outsource, that's what we would be, that's the market rate.
So I
No.
pulled up the survey. I don't think you can see it. You're probably still looking at what I had earlier, but I pulled up the survey, and of these towns, the first three, Ashfield on the list, Bernardston and Buckland, all pay $29,543 a year, and it's 8 hours a week. So when I do the math, it comes out to $71 an hour.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I think Leverett is paying that as well.
Leverett is paying that. And they're paying $29,543 for 8 hours a week. So,
So,
so just to go back to what this is, especially for April, who I know probably hasn't seen it before. So we have everybody over here. We got all the rates for the different positions. And then I calculated an average. I also calculated an average about the highest and the lowest towns, but the median is probably a better number. And there's your lowest and your highest towns. And we flagged a town, we flagged a position like this one here. I'll go to the very first line.
Mhm.
Because you can see relative to the average, it's really low. And you can see all these in red are the ones that I think are the ones that we want to, as a committee, look at, or as a board.
Oh,
look
yeah.
at. So in the context of this conversation, we were talking about the tax collector. I forget.
I think we were talking about the tax collector in July, the collector. So it's under C.
Mhm.
We were going alphabetical, weren't we?
Yes, right.
Yeah. At least I think we were.
Wow.
I know the
Wow.
numbers differ quite a bit, don't they, April?
Mhm.
Yeah, how many
And I
hours
think
does it?
we also have to keep in mind, replacing anybody is going to really put this whack. I think that will cost a lot more. Like, we're going to get a new highway superintendent. The police, anyway.
I mean, you're advocating that we try not to have, we want to avoid turnover.
Yes.
You got to
It's
train them.
inevitable.
So I guess there's another issue about the financial people. Like, we really, if they work under 20 hours a week, they're not getting any benefits. We're not paying benefits for for our people that are under 20 hours a week, and that's half our financial team.
How many hours are they working? How close to 20 are they?
The job descriptions are 15 hours a week. But
And is that,
so
is
that
that accurate?
well, Ellen's in here 3 days. She's now working 15 hours a week, but I think it's, she never did until she retired, I don't think. Because she was working another full-time job and, she was probably working, closer to 10 or 12 at that point in time. But we don't know because she's never done a timesheet in her life. And you're going on 45 years, so it's hard to get her started in a new habit.
Yep.
Would you think she'd go through and just chart her hours she's working to make sure that we have her at the right amount for her job description?
That's a good idea.
Started charting them in March for the
Okay.
first, but she still doesn't do timesheets.
No, that's fine. It just, as long as there's some, she's getting some data. So, because if she's working more than the 15, then that should be known and talked about, right?
Yeah, I agree. Like, our people, they're paid for up to 15 hours. Is that accurate? I guess that might be part of our analysis as well.
Yeah. But so maybe to sort out when people, if they're above or below, maybe we do need a number of hours, whether they're really benefited or not, into the chart, George.
I'm
Would
sorry.
that just be,
Yeah, please. I'm trying to keep up with the minutes. What was that again, Becky?
Would it make sense to add the number of hours for our positions to the chart?
If you'd like to see it, yeah, it certainly makes sense. I can do that.
That would be awesome.
All right. I won't do it now, of course, but let me just make a note here to put in the hours.
Yeah. Okay, another, like the FERCog chart, does that show the hours?
Yep.
It does.
Okay, because that's relevant.
To try and track it for each town, it would be another schedule. It would be really hard to put it on here for all the towns.
I don't think you'd want to track it for each town, but maybe we can just like color code the ones that are,
close to ours.
I mean, that was the reason why I went to hourly here, by the way, hourly rates,
Mhm.
was to take that out of the equation. Because every town is so different. The
Yeah.
towns are just all over the place as far as hours per week. So I just took the salaries and adjusted them for the number of hours to get the hourly rates.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I will say this, if before we make a change or a recommendation for a new pay rate for any position, I would ask everybody to just take a quick look at the wage and chart. As we do each position, I would ask everybody to open up the FERCog report and look at that position.
Mhm.
Not only to make sure what I put down here is accurate, I think what it is, Becky and I reviewed it together when I first did this, but also to give you a better sense of what's going on in the other towns, because there is a lot of other information on the schedule. And I'm afraid that by boiling it down to these numbers, it may not be the complete story. And one of you might see something, ask a question that gets us to kind of, it just reinforces what we're doing for any one position.
Mhm.
I just think that level of information would be useful. Everybody has it, right?
yep. I emailed it out. Do you need it, April?
I think I do. I have it, I think I have this from my old select board stuff, but I don't think I have it on this. Because we were looking at this.
Because there's a lot of extra information. I just want to make sure that I didn't miss something or get something wrong, or that this isn't really telling the whole story, because like the town accountant position we talked about is very unique because all the different towns are outsourcing. And there could be other uniqueness in another position that somebody's going to catch that I didn't necessarily account for, maybe I should have. So I would appreciate everybody, at least as we go through this process, I think that would be wise.
Okay.
And I just wanted, for the minutes, if I can just, while I'm talking, so we're discussing an approach for the summary description. April mentioned that we have a concern about turnover, but somebody else, which I now have, somebody else had said something that we want to consider when we look at these towns. Oh, the hours. Okay.
Whether they're benefited or unbenefited.
Oh, okay, that was it. Okay. All right. I just don't want to make sure I get that. Okay, I'm listening now.
So how about, that could be a good assignment for the next meeting? Everybody look over the chart. George, what do you think? I think it's not gonna, in January, new numbers come out. And I'm not sure how that impacts what we're working on now.
Yeah, I think we have to look at it in terms of, can we get the new salaries in for the new, what kind of timeline do we need to follow if we want to get changes made for the upcoming fiscal year, for next fiscal year? January might be cutting it a little close with an April town meeting.
Yeah, so we probably want to use,
What we have now.
Mhm. It's a start.
okay,
And I
'cause
know I sent this to everybody, a different version of this, but a PDF version, I believe.
do you want to send the live version to everybody?
I don't know. There's a lot going on in this spreadsheet. Honestly, I haven't looked at it in a while. So I could do that before the next meeting. I just want to look at it and just make sure it's clean, if you will. If I had notes or anything that are just going to, that people aren't interested in, I just want to keep it simple.
Okay,
I can. I mean, I don't mind. It doesn't matter.
no, probably other people won't even be looking at. So I think just, does anybody else think they wanted a live spreadsheet, or are they happy with a PDF?
I'm happy with
I'm-
a PDF.
I'm fine with a PDF, whichever you want to give out, it's fine.
Just send this. I'll probably just send this. I'll take a look at it and I'll send it. Sometime in the next few days.
Okay.
It's good bike riding weather.
Yeah, I rode my bike today, so I'm gonna take tomorrow off. It was cold. Yeah, okay. I don't know what I'm doing here. I'll figure it out.
I always do appreciate your spreadsheets, George.
Yeah, I always appreciate when somebody double checks them.
Mhm.
This one in particular, because the towns all report things so differently. Each town has a unique way of reporting it. Some positions, it's very straightforward, but as you're looking at the wage and salary survey, you're going to see some towns just do things very differently. And they report their numbers in different ways. So, I had to do some interpreting, and that's really why that's one of the reasons why it would be helpful if other people
Okay.
look.
And then we'll hopefully be ready for, meeting with the FinCom in the winter with any recommendations we have. Because I really feel strongly we really have good employees in this town, and I think we need to really be fair in how we are paying people,
Well, the reality is, if we're not paying them well enough, we're in trouble because we're going to lose people. And it seems that, especially for the more technical positions where, because the regs for the state are so unique, they're not the same regs for business. Like, I, working in finance, couldn't necessarily walk in and get the treasurer job in Shutesbury without having to go through some classes and getting some training. And I may have a lot of experience in finance, but none in municipal government. And so what we have, I think, is a fairly small pool of people to hire from. I know there was an article in the Gazette a couple months ago about superintendents in this state, and they're just churning. They're just running to different, it's the same people just running to different districts. And then the district they left has to find somebody, and it's somebody from another district. And we're just all feeding off each other, and that's going to create price increase, salary increases. And so that, unfortunately, is the environment that we live in. I know it varies by position, but that is a potential problem.
Yes.
I have a question, and I don't know if it's appropriate, so shut me down by all means if it's not. Last night we were informed at the police study group that Kristen Burgess was very rightly made acting police chief, and I think that's a great move and necessary move. I hope that she's being additionally compensated for that.
Well, isn't she technically a sergeant who's officer in charge? Is that?
Yeah.
But yes,
Yeah.
I remember that was part of, we worked hard to get her an increase.
So I'll run down through a little bit from last night. I know, Melody, you've already heard this, but April and George had not. She was encountering, we had made her officer, we had increased her to a sergeant. With that, there was compensation, and she was the OIC, so the officer in charge. With that, she was encountering, with that title, officer in charge, she was encountering a lot of resistance and even being removed from Zoom meetings with the post regulations and the new reform law and all of those things that are coming out because she was not a chief. Across the state, the title chief is given priority. Officer in charge is really seen only as a temporary assignment for a medical leave to cover the chief or a vacation to cover the chief, like a temporary assignment. So she came to the select board and explained the issues that she was having and not being able to vote or have input in such, and she was removed from a Zoom meeting and told, well, chiefs have priority, you don't have the title, and she's been asked a number of times, when is your chief coming back, so she was encountering a lot of difficulties to do her job and keep our department in compliance. So we had just assigned her acting chief of police for Shutesbury. So that's kind of a rundown.
do
Becky
we
might have
have-
more to fill in.
But
we
my
need to
question is,
create
does she get additional compensation for that?
The answer to Melody's question is, at this point, she did not get additional compensation. She got a significant increase when we promoted her to sergeant. And there, normally you would have to be a full-time accredited academy person to get the full-time status. So she's officially, part-time, permanent part-time at 32 hours a week. And in that status, she can work 40 hours a week at different times. But until she's full-time academy certified, she, as far as the town's full job description for chief, she wouldn't qualify.
So should we,
Instead of, so what we're doing is we're working hard. She's working in the bridge. She's been trying to put together all the bridge information. There's a new bridge academy that's coming out of post, which will make her, she will be able to take an abbreviated amount of hours of coursework online to get this new accreditation. And it has kind of been the feeling that once she gets that full-time accreditation, the town is on solid ground if they so chose to make her chief. And it's sort of like we're kind of connecting all those things happening together, more compensation and the full job and the full title at the same time. So
should we,
you're right. At this point, she didn't, but she did get, she did get significant compensation when we made her sergeant to help
do
make
we
her.
need to make a job description for acting chief?
We had assigned the title. We didn't do the more appointment of, right, Becky? That's really how we were able to give her.
Oh,
She really just needed the chief in the title so that there could be, so she could be parts of these things. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Slightly. So it was assigning like I likened it to what Amherst has gone through with, we've had several senior staff members leave. So they've appointed someone that didn't necessarily have the education for those places or the skill set necessarily, but they needed someone in that leadership role to be able to provide for those sections of the campus and to play the leadership until there was some, like an interim or an acting. So it's more of an assignment on that level. So I think that's where we kind of thought assignment. That's where I thought when she asked assignment, that's kind of what I was thinking anyway. So
we had, yeah, so when we move towards, as she fulfills all these Bridge Academy stuff, which she potentially might be able to do the bulk of by January, if she can get enough support, if she has enough staffing in place. So Melody, it's an excellent question, and I agree with you. It's just because of her situation, we're kind of making sure that she has the full required set of stuff to do the job.
Thank you so much for answering the question.
Yeah. So we don't want her to, we don't want people to say, oh, but she's not qualified, because she is qualified for what she's doing. And we're just waiting for the paperwork and her coursework to catch up. Because she has showed remarkable skills in how she's pulled the department together and supported everyone else. And April, I have to also let you know, because you were the only one who was dead on this one too. This Johansson has given his resignation.
what?
He's the young man that we sent to the academy. And he'll
Oh,
6 months after.
What's his first name again? What's his first name?
Marcus.
Marcus, that's it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
who got him? Amherst?
Green,
Greenfield?
Greenfield poached him.
Tough place to be a police officer.
Is that
Whoa.
true?
Well, it's a quite a drug thoroughfare,
Yeah.
you know, and that's a lot of what they did. They handle the heroin and usage up there is just unbelievable.
Yeah, when I was in the grand jury, a third of the cases were drugs.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Anthony Bourdain did a whole hour show about it.
I saw that. Yeah, it wasn't the whole hour, wasn't just
Well, yeah,
Greenfield,
no, you're
but
right.
they, but they did show it, yes.
Yeah, we would find heroin packets in the parking lot of the clinic when I
Wow.
worked up there. That was pretty intense.
Wow.
So how many, how many is this now? This is number 3, number 4.
Number 4.
But the contract that he had signed is going to work as well. So he will be reimbursing the town for,
Not for the hours, but at
For
least for the academy.
$7.
You know, if the state wants police officers, they got to make people stop having to pay for the academy. Everybody's talking about community college and state college first 2 years paid for. The police academy should be paid for. It's ridiculous. The towns are paying for it and then these guys leave and our town we can't find people and we can attract them by offering them the academy and then they leave. And people who want to become officers, I don't know. It just seems to me it should. I'm
and
sorry, I'll stop.
Massachusetts has, just to add to that, George, Massachusetts has one of the most strict academy, like one of the more lengthier academies. And if we want to turn out great police officers in the state of Massachusetts, it would be a benefit to have it, you know,
Yes. Yes.
and it's certainly largely discounted, you know, if not totally free.
Especially with all the officers that are leaving the profession. I mean, you know, there's the turnover in the United States of America in the last year has been very high, not turnover, whatever the rate
Retirement.
would be. Yeah, retirement. They're not even retiring. They're
No,
just,
mass exodus, really.
yeah, there are young guys who are like, I don't need this anymore. This is just crazy.
But
So
the-
question, do we ever do exit interviews with these police that leave or anybody that leaves and we find out why are you leaving and what could we have done to make you stay? That type of thing. Do we do that?
And I have one scheduled with Marcus on the 12th
Okay.
So does the select board get to yell at him?
with Hernandez. No, but
Okay.
no, it's just he promised to stay and are we just suckers? I don't know. It seemed with his family here and everything he said, he was sincere. So it just is frustrating, really.
They're
frustrating.
sincere until somebody waves some money in front of their face. And then
Yeah.
it's like, wait a minute. Oh, I have to rethink this.
And I think partly maybe that potentially what happened, because Greenfield can pay more and, you know, Mass State
Mhm.
Police can pay more.
And Greenfield lost a number of officers, so they've been aggressively out poaching.
But they could poach someone who hasn't had the academy fully.
Yeah.
They don't have to go after those that have.
It's
The reality
cheaper.
is Shutesbury is always going to be a feeder for bigger towns.
Right.
We're going to hire young guys, right?
But
Interns,
with the
Yeah.
new system, it's not going to be work. Like we won't be able to hire a part-timer and the academy's not going to work the same way. So right now we've got this window of opportunity where the other officer we hired, Taylor Boudry, will also be eligible for the Bridge Academy, hopefully sooner than later. She might have to wait. I think they're talking about getting rid of the number of years of experience and just going by number of hours of police service. And she'll be close to that. But if we're, what Kristen is going to do at the Bridge Academy will cost the town hardly anything outside of ammunition and expenses. And she'll be doing her studying not during working hours for the most part. So the Bridge Academy could really help solidify our department in getting two officers on staff up to the full-time academy level at a much reduced cost. So that's really hopeful. It might help.
Marcus really is a talented young man. I mean, I think he will be fine as a police officer. It's just a year he could have given us.
Yeah, I wish he had at least stayed to the end of the year because Kristen really could have used that. But as always, she is just figuring out how to move forward and putting together an excellent plan to do that. So
So in the meantime, we have a full female police department.
Yes.
So an acting chief, a sergeant.
We don't have a sergeant.
We don't have
The
a sergeant.
acting chief is the sergeant.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So who, the woman at town meeting? Who,
That
that
was
wasn't,
Megan. Wasn't that Megan?
I thought she
Gallo?
was a sergeant. No,
Mhm.
she's not. Okay, she's just a patrol officer. Okay.
There, I think at town meeting, we had both Taylor and we had Megan too, right, Becky? Yeah,
And I think Linda Newcomb was there.
and
too.
Linda. Yeah.
Linda
Right.
is being, she's stepping up and helping. She's.
Oh, is that true? What, more than just road work?
she's-
I thought, wasn't there like an intern, not an intern, she'd recruited a young man,
Yeah, kind of, I would call him kind of an
like an
intern.
intern?
Yeah, Sohan.
Yeah.
Sohan is in the military at this point. He's in boot camp. But he's been writing letters. We keep getting letters from him, and she did a internship with a ride-along program. And yeah, she's really excited about his coming back. And he's ready to pay for the academy on his own. And I've gotten good reports about him from other people. So that's another wonderful. She's bringing in good people.
Yeah.
And that kind of fell in place because he didn't have experience, but he wanted to be in law enforcement. So that was the solution that she brought, was why don't we have him as an intern so he gets a little taste of it before he goes into the military, and then maybe there's a potential for him to come back after. So
Yeah.
Anyways, we digress, I think.
we did hugely. Sorry. It's okay.
It's
I
the
did not
personnel
document
board.
this in the minutes.
It's the personnel board,
Melody was.
And that was personnel.
exactly.
No, it was very informative. I definitely appreciate hearing all that.
And it is applicable to what we're looking at, because if we do have a change, if we do have a new chief at some point, we're going to want to really look at that position and the job description and the salary range in preparation for that.
Definitely with the post stuff too, Becky, with all that new reform stuff, there may be some stuff that have to be in there with those two things.
Yeah, this is where the police study group can be really helpful. Oh, I hope so.
No,
Yeah, I think we will be in the end.
I don't think our police study. Oh my God, we haven't even touched post.
What?
Yeah, what's that mean?
In the new police study committee, what the
It's
post will be, we haven't addressed at all.
I don't even know what that is.
it's police.
Oh, it's an acronym?
Yes.
Um,
Hang on. I think I wrote it down in my notes.
Police officer.
Police.
officer study trainings. I can't remember.
Police service. Something training. Police service, something, police blank officer training, but I don't remember what that S is.
Because
Police
Melody,
standard.
new regulations that are being written and implemented that are coming through the legislature right now.
Oh,
That's what the information we're gathering about all the Bridge Academy and all that, but there's also different, it's more than that. It's not just the bridge. That's one piece of it, but there's new requirements.
Police officer standards and training. A
you.
system would bolster public safety, enhance accountability, and build public trust in municipal police officers in Massachusetts.
Yeah. And then there's the whole reform bill or reform stuff as well. So
Yeah, we're gonna have to talk about that, Melissa. We got to get that.
on the agenda.
Yeah,
Okay.
Well, we've got to bring together. We'll have to just figure out what impact that could have on our other discussions, whatever else is going on.
It might come out of our little exercise at our next meeting where we go through pros and cons, because maybe Kristen will have something that will fit there for the poster reform.
I apologize. I'm just talking too much about a wide variety.
Lots going on, lots going on.
A
Although
lot
it's
is
still
going on.
fit.
So I'll send this schedule to everyone,
Okay,
and everybody's gonna have the wage and salary survey. And we should be, I don't think we're gonna accomplish any, how are we gonna go about analyzing each position? Right? Because isn't that what we want to do, is in our next meeting, start
Mhm.
analyzing the position? So what are the steps? Because
Well, it seems like, reviewing the classification systems that, and job descriptions is all kind of linked into it, I think. That, because, I just remember over time when we've, looked at positions that often the classification has been off as jobs become way more technical and complicated. I mean, isn't that,
In the 30-year-old system that we're using, not as much, more weight given to physical work than to other kind of work, which is has an interesting impact that needs to be looked at too.
well, as
and here-
George was saying, as we first started, that he benefited from not being on a desk all the time. There is some, the physical work, but then there's also the repetitiveness of sitting at a desk all day
and the technical work,
and technical
That-
work.
I think there's a gender bias. Surprise.
so Becky, in April, you're gonna work on organizing the current one to present to us in the next meeting? Okay.
Elegantly. So
Okay.
when is our next meeting?
It's supposed,
October 21 is what's on the agenda right now, is what we had agreed to in our last meeting.
is it October 21, you said?
Yes, if you look at the minutes that we approved, it's at the bottom, October 21, November 18, December 20.
Okay,
I'm adding it to my calendar now.
Me too. Because if I don't, so at 6 o'clock, what time are we meeting?
6:15 is what I have down for all three of those.
Okay,
And that is our standard time now, right? Yeah, that's our standard time, obviously.
right, obviously.
Yeah, because we were doing 7:15 in person, and then, I appreciate the 6:15 in case I'm actually at work that day. I can get to someplace else.
we're
Well, I'm flexible, so whatever works.
And Melody's probably not flexible.
we're here and
Right.
we were all here at 6. So that's why we were laughing. Because nobody had the right time. The people that were here had the wrong, well, we posted it for
It was
6.
posted for 6.
I don't recall ever getting an email with the meeting on it. Usually I get those for the different meetings we have, and I didn't have one for this meeting. Although it's possible because we delayed it so many times, it just got lost. Or just,
Yeah, I think that's what happened for me.
that's usually my reminder. I flag them and I keep them and I can see them, and that's how I remember.
Are you guys signed up with the posting system so that when a meeting gets posted, you get an email?
Yeah, that's what usually happens. Yes. It'll be a finance committee meeting on, and it'll have the date. In fact, I just got one yesterday, I think, for next week's finance committee. And I usually get them for the personnel board too, but I didn't get one for this meeting.
Got it for the personnel board, but I posted it early because I didn't forget.
So it's probably way down in my emails. Yeah, all right.
So
My
it was
fault.
Maybe a couple weeks ago.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for showing up, everybody.
Well, thank you for inviting us.
Sorry that you had to make phone calls to get us all there.
Yes, sorry to be late.
Cats.
It's okay.
Meow.
Do this all again on
Good to- And email me next week, what are good times for you, Becky? Okay. All right. This was fun.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I so moved.
Second,
All in favor?
Harvard Night aside.
Chartier, aye.
Make peace, O'Neill, aye.
Night.
I've missed hearing that at meetings, April.
I know.
Welcome to the board, April. It's nice to have you
Yes,
back.
well-
I feel like I came home. I love this board.
I do too.
Yeah.
Bye.
Have a good night.
Bye-bye.